Good evening, everyone. How you doing tonight? Hope you're having a great Monday night. Today is the 1st or the 18th of January, 2023. Hi, Richard. Hi, Debbie Martin. Hi, Rodney. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Nana. Hi, Richard. Hi, Linda. Hi, Brenda. And Donna and Blitzen and everyone else. Let's just keep going. Thank you guys for being here. Of course, share the stream out. Of course, let people know we're here. Of course, two different sets of rules are playing on these documents that have been found between Biden. No sound. I'm putting out sound just fine. Hopefully, you turn the volume up on your phone. Oh, today's Wednesday? Today is Wednesday. Oh, my goodness. Sorry, I was sick Monday. That's right. I wasn't feeling well. But two different sets of rules of these documents are coming out, and that's basically what we've had all this time is the Democrats get treated one way and Republicans get treated another. It's hypocrisy from both parties because of this. I mean, compared to the incident with classified documents the FBI seized last year from former Trump, I mean, it's just crazy. It is absolutely crazy watching what's happening. As we're going forward, though, and we got to watch what is going to happen to Biden because Biden is planning on running in 2024. And basically, nothing has been done yet. There's no call for impeachment. There's no acting like it's a big deal. Everybody acting like everything's good. Democrats were allowed to do this. Republicans aren't. I mean, this is ridiculous. Honestly. And Biden is just childish at this point. Criticizing Trump for holding on to materials from his time in office, which goes against the Presidential Record Act requirements, but he did declassify them according to him. So they weren't classified documents. Biden took documents that were from the Records Act and were classified. He had no right to declassify them. They weren't declassified. I don't know why they haven't filed for impeachment or anything else. And if they'll ever do anything about it. But, of course, other things going on. A lot of other things going on tonight, like Operation Warp Speed, that was such a huge success with this vaccine, right? Rodney, I think, can somebody put Rodney in the chat and let him know that he's the only one that's not hearing my audio, I guess? I don't know why, but he's not hearing my audio. But Operation Warp Speed, it was so successful, but the U.S. is turning away from it now, determination to remain slow on COVID and future pandemics. And nobody's saying why. Of course, we all think we know why. The rapid development of the vaccine, of course, from the public and private sector, and almost no one wants to take credit for it. Rare accomplishment in Washington, but nobody wants to take credit for it. I wonder why. Seeing numbers of athletes, of course, mysteriously dying. And some people saying that the COVID vaccines are dangerous and the vaccines don't matter anyways. And they don't want to credit Trump and his administration. Of course, the Biden administration doesn't want to take credit either now. I mean, were the vaccines an enormous good? Did they dampen the transmission enough to bring an end to the pandemic? We're a long way from even knowing if that's the truth. I mean, millions of lives could have been saved. We don't know. We honestly do not know. But Operation Warp Speed was amazing. The way the government and private sectors worked along with each other and worked a great speeds together. One of the fastest things we've seen happen. But does faster mean better at this point? It's too early to say. We see some of the side effects of faster, not better. Warp speed is pretty much out. The government's not going to do it again. They're determined to remain slow on COVID and any future pandemic because of this. It's extremely sad. Of course, we have this debt ceiling crisis that could derail the entire economy right now. It's the biggest threat the U.S. economy has faced this year. And the fight over the federal debt limit. The Congress and the White House have roughly 6 months to avoid an unprecedented and potential catastrophic default on federal debt. There is no clear path in keeping the U.S. solvent at this point. The House Republicans forcibly oppressing any debt ceiling increase, unaccompanied by serious spending cuts. We need serious spending cuts. We need spending cuts. Lawmakers may fail to strike a deal, and they have so far. And if they keep failing to strike a deal and avoid default, experts say the shock could plunge the world into a recession and a financial crisis, which we're already heading there anyways. Even a prolonged showdown of the debt ceiling could rattle markets and derail global economies already weakened by inflation, rising interest rates, and lingering scares of COVID-19 pandemic. There are a number of economic challenges that exist from the fact that the debt limit negotiations are needed. Yes, I agree we have to have some kind of negotiation here, but we need to really slow down. Yeah. It's going to happen. Be prepared. Like I told you guys in the beginning, yes, the timeline has stretched out quite a bit from my original projections, but it's happening. I mean, paying $7 to $8 for a dozen eggs, $5 to $6 for a pound of butter. I mean, think about it. Most people make $10 an hour or less. That's the true wage of this country. Those people are working an hour just for some eggs and butter at this point. And it's ridiculous. Congress is struggling to find a way to stave off this recession being even steeper, tied by the debt ceiling negotiations and inability to borrow money to fund stimuluses. There's no way to do that. Pound of butter, $8 in Alaska. You believe it, Michelle? It's crazy. Yeah, bread, $4 to $5 a loaf here in the continental United States. And the sad part is wholesale inflation is not receding like it should be. Wholesale inflation for December was still 6.2%. That's the busiest shopping month of the year. Usually, of course, the lowest or the least inflation happens that month, and usually it's a recovery month where we're actually negative inflation. So seeing the peak, of course, in November at 11.7, this 6.2% is not a good thing. Of course, people are saying, well, at least it's slowing down. Not on the consumer side. This is the wholesale side. Consumer side is way up still. Gallons of gas may be going down, which is, of course, making inflation look like it's going down. But really, that's just a sign of people not being able to afford their own vehicles. So less gas is being purchased. Months out, we have massive layoffs happening. Microsoft is laying off over 10,000 workers. Nearly 5% of Microsoft's global workforce, 10,000 workers in the U.S. Job slashes as the contractor. This is post-pandemic era boom. This is just one of many tech companies that are doing it. You're talking about 10,000 employees. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when we have 30% of the United States employed, that's just one company doing it. All of Silicon Valley and the rest of the tech industry and the rest of the economy are doing the same things. Dozens of companies are shredding significant portions of their workforce after years of growth here in the U.S. Yeah. Learn how to do stuff on yourself by yourself as long as you can. I mean, global economists right now are saying the globe is heading for basically heading into the eye of a Category 5 hurricane. This, of course, the UN Secretary was talking about today. You were United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres offered a sobering outlook on the economy, warning that the world is heading into the eye of a Category 5 economic hurricane. Not just one or the other. I mean, this is sad. Our world is plagued by a perfect storm on a number of fronts. I mean, we start with the short term, the global economic crisis that's happening. The outlook we know is bleak. Many parts of the world facing recessions, the entire world facing slowdowns. And we see deepening inequalities, rapid unfolding of cost of living crisis affecting everyone, supply chain disruptions, energy crunches, soaring prices. Just the beginning. I'm worried that the fact that we have a combination of these things that are interlocked and that the negativity or negative synergy that's happening. I mean, the war in Ukraine skyrocketed food and energy prices, climate change, according to a lot of people, and increase in wealth and inequality were some of the factors that created the situation. A clear recession perspective is what we got to face. That's a global issue. There's no way we can't just print more money like the US, like we did earlier. Europe's not going to do that. Other countries aren't going to do that. Countries are close to default. They have no resources. The US can't print any more money. We've already done that. And that hasn't even hit our dollar value yet. Just wait, because we had $5 trillion in circulation before 9/11. Or not before 9/11, before COVID hit back in 2018. Now we have 25 trillion. 5 trillion to 25 trillion. $20 trillion was printed. And nobody felt the downfall of that yet. Imagine everything going 5 times the price overnight. Your carton of eggs at $7 or $8, whatever you're paying right now, going to 30-something dollars the next day. Lumber prices are soaring, not just because of tornadoes and wind damage, because we're no longer trading with countries that give us lumber. I mean, there's no concessional funding. I mean, there's no way to get anything. People in the world are suffering, and we need to understand that. I mean, this is crazy. The UN can't do anything to combat this economic hurricane. They emphasize global stimulus to address economic woes. The problem is, that means who would pay for this money? Where would this money come from? Would it just devalue all currencies equally and abruptly, causing worse than a recession, a depression? I mean, proposed global stimuluses and ability to redress the economy are very dangerous. I mean, very, very dangerous. I know our dominance on fossil fuels is not helping. We need to move to renewables so we don't have to worry about paying your electric bill as the price goes higher and higher. Crazy. Good thing you brought that up, Teresa, because my next article is what happens when you reject the idea that the system actually works? That's a big question. We got to ask ourselves that, because what happens if you challenge the system here in the United States? You used to be able to freely and openly. Now, if you do, you get tried and questioned and pushed, shoved around, told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. I mean, it's sad. It's happening. I mean, you're watching even what happened in New Mexico. I mean, midterms in 2022, the 14th House representative covered a large chunk of Albuquerque and the Rio Grande. And backed by Joe Biden, a 40-point margin in 2020. But the boundaries were drawn closer. I mean, what's happening is people are waking up slowly now. People are waking up and seeing this and running against these people, like this guy that was in office over here in Albuquerque. He was backed by Joe Biden in 2020. He won by a 40-point margin, huge margin, percentage points, 40%. Now he lost, and we're seeing it because people are waking up. But then he organized, this guy that was the district representative there, organized a violent group now to go against the party, or to go against the grain of the government there. That's happening everywhere. We look around the country or around the world, we see protests. People protesting because they don't have food, protesting because they don't have energy. I mean, it's happening in not third world countries. We're talking first world countries. It's happening. We're seeing electrical substations getting damaged by gunfire. Another one in North Carolina just happened. Another electrical substation was damaged by gunfire in North Carolina. They don't know who did it. Marks the third incident there was a substation damaged since November. And damage occurred Tuesday, or last night, or early this morning. Last night, late last night, or early this morning. But I mean, this is happening. There are no current suspects or motives. That's what they say. Try to stock up on over-the-counter meds. You can't. This happened yesterday. The substation in North Carolina. This is ridiculous. This is what our country is turning to. And now the U.S. This is the most ridiculous thing I've heard so far. There are reports coming out that U.S. officials believe that assisting Ukraine's operations in Crimea might be worth it as the U.S. seeks to strengthen Kiev's position on negotiations. You heard that right. A Russian-occupied territory that's been occupied by Russia since 2014. The U.S. now wants to help Ukraine strike Crimea, directly involving us in a war with Russia. And we know what Russia's going to do if they get backed in the corner. I mean, we have several anonymous U.S. officials that have admitted this. They're growing more comfortable with the idea of helping Ukraine advance and attack on Crimea. That's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, why would we join a war against Russia right now? I mean, honestly, seriously, we have enough problems with China, everything else. Now we're going to go and attack Crimea, the Crimea Peninsula, which is Russian controlled and been annexed since 2014 and is integrated into Russian state infrastructure. So 8 years ago. I'm sure we will too, Laura. That's the sad part. The U.S. jumping in the of course, hesitation to become involved in Crimea's battlefield back in 2014. But according to officials, fears that Russia would retaliate using tactical nuclear weapons have been basically pushed aside, meaning the risk of assisting Ukraine's operation in Crimea may be worth it as the U.S. seeks to strengthen Kiev's position in further negotiations. That's right. We are trying to push into a war with Russia. Meanwhile, Putin is mobilizing huge amounts of people. Right now, Putin is ready and could be ready to announce another second mobilization drive, while 700,000 troops, almost 1 million troops, are waiting to enter Ukraine as we speak, with armored vehicles and everything else, tanks getting ready to move on the ground. As possible as early as today, we're waiting to see what's actually happening tonight. I mean, Russia looks to bolster its armed forces in Ukraine, and it's doing that drastically. 700,000 more troops entering Ukraine. This is not going to be like the 300,000 that were called up and put into action so far. 700,000 additional men fighting. We're going to watch this happen no matter what we try to do. West is just doubling down on aiding Ukraine and trying to join in now with Crimea. Russia had repeatedly insisted it would not embark on a second mobilization wave, but it's already happened. Conversations that are happening, the spark to happen is obvious. Now, a lot of Western newspapers are sounding like they're forcing these people to come to enlist. They are initiating a partial draft of military reservists that they're calling up. Reservists. A lot of people in Russia believe in this war in Ukraine. The U.S. isn't going to. The U.S. has to guarantee Ukraine's destruction in order to hide what we've done. We know there's labs there that were being used for research of viruses. I can't say gain of function because we don't technically know that. We know they were researching viral pathologies. Of course, we know. Of course, they were doing that here at Berkeley Labs and Berkeley University. And they made a COVID strain that kills 80% of people it would infect if it were to get out. By accident. This is absolutely ridiculous. And China Russia and China have a huge head start, of course, with hypersonic missiles in the first place. China has now developed an antenna for the hypersonic missile to communicate in real time with ground. That means it communicate real time, high speed data test as of now. The hypersonic weapon's next frontier of the warfare, traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 5 times the speed of sound. Hypersonic weapons developed by China can hit moving aircraft carriers from a distance of over 1,000 miles. Evading existing air defense because now they can be remotely controlled from anywhere. As of course, these extreme speeds, the surface temperature of the weapon can exceed 3,600 degrees, creating a sheath of hot plasma around it, leading to radio blackout. And this created problems with communications with the weapon, especially when your strike needs to be called out or weapons need to be changed. But they successfully tested communications with a missile traveling at Mach 20. Mach 20, not Mach 5. Mach 20, one of their fastest hypersonic missiles they have. Mach 20. And they still kept communications. This is the first time in history that we've been able to even establish communications once a plasma shield has come in at all into play. Even talking to space shuttle, you don't have that capability. Once plasma starts to form at Mach, I think it's like Mach 3.4, plasma starts to form, radio signals become pointless. Now China has overcome this problem, and this is going to be huge. It may not seem like it, but it's going to impact the civilian sector as well. It's going to open up huge amounts of funding for civilian sector because this new technology that they come out with to communicate through plasma, which is just ridiculous, is going to change the whole way we think about even our smartphones or Wi-Fi routers or internet-based devices. This is crazy. This is what's happening in the world today. I want to thank you guys, of course, for being here. God bless you all. Definitely appreciate it. Of course, we're always trying to raise money for families in need. So, of course, if you can afford to donate, please do. We definitely appreciate it. But times are strange. Things are happening. Nothing is off the table. God bless you all. God bless America. Stay safe. I'll see you Friday night. Good night.